Hello everyone. My name is Marcus Reeves, and I was doing meditation this morning, and I was meditating for 2 hours, and I was thinking that I was in a state of enlightenment, and I was thinking that everything that we think is not necessarily true, and how that can lead to, to problems. I'm a student of the mind. I like to study the mind. I like to study human behavior. I study the way the mind views relationships, and I study how the mind views the outside world. So I study the way the mind behaves. So I was thinking that I came to the conclusion that everything we think is not necessarily true, and that can lead to a misconception, and that can lead to arguments, and that can lead to violence, and it even can lead to criminal activity. So let me explain what I'm saying. I'm going to give you an example of what I'm saying. A husband starts thinking that his wife is committing adultery, and in actuality, his wife is not committing adultery. But in his mind, he starts to believe that his wife is committing adultery. So of course, that leads to a misconception, and that leads to an argument, and that leads to a fight. And like I said before, it can even lead to criminal activity. So, I study the mind and the way the mind behaves. And again, not everything we think is necessarily true. And of course, that sometimes it's very hard to differentiate between what is true and what is not. If there's nothing there to confirm that is true, and if there's nothing there to confirm that is false, then it's very, of course, we don't we don't know. So it's very hard to differentiate between both of them. So again, this can lead to, it can lead to arguments. It can lead to fights, and it can even lead to, a criminal activity. And this is the way the mind behaves. Um, you know, um, like cognitive distortions. Um, there's a thing. Cognitive distortion means that you have a thought that's not true, or you have a belief that's not true, but in your mind, you perceive it as to be true, and you believe that it's true, when actually it's not true. So this is the how the minds behave. Um, you don't necessarily have to be classified as mentally ill with mental issues. Uh, a lot of people that have never been diagnosed with mental issues, a lot of people that never have been diagnosed with mental illness suffer from this problem. And again, it's because they are suffering from cognitive distortions, meaning that they believe something to be true when it's not true. It could be a belief, like I think I'm related to I think I'm related, I think I'm related to Elton John, and That's a cognitive distortion. You believe something in your own mind that's not true. And then, of course, a lot of people suffer from that, and you don't necessarily have to be classified. I mean, a lot of people who have never been diagnosed, with mental problems, suffer from this. Even people who work, even people who are productive, people who have good jobs. I mean, people who never miss a day of work can also suffer from this. You know, can also suffer from this. So again, it's everything that we think is true. I mean, not everything we think is true. You know, and I was in a state of enlightenment, and I started thinking about this. That sometimes, we have to, we have to examine our minds and stuff like that. And again, I studied the mind. I studied the way the mind behaves. And this is actually very simple, and I know it's very simple. But sometimes we don't see the simple things. And I mean, sometimes the cure is something very simple, you know. Um, but we don't see it because we are so occupied thinking of other things, you know. And again, sometimes the cure can be actually something very, very simple. I also added logic to my Zen practice because I myself do not want to be misled. I mean, I study the mind, but actually I do not want to be misled myself. So I added logic to my Zen practice. When I'm doing Zen, I only focus on what has been confirmed to be true. I don't, I try my best not to think of something that could be true or not true. I mean, you see the black or white. There's no middle ground when I'm doing Zen. It's either true or it's not true. If I'm not sure it's true, then I leave it alone. I leave it alone. So I use logic with my Zen practice. I only focus on things that I know are true and that have been proven to be true. Again, there's no black and white. I mean, there's no middle ground. It's either black or white. It's either true or not. I don't, there's no middle ground for me. I only concentrate on things that I know that's true. Again, a lot of people have this flaw in their thinking. What I mean by flaw, the word flaw means mistake. So a lot of people have this mistake in their thinking. A lot of mistakes in their thinking. Do not accept everything that comes into your mind. You take everything that comes into your mind and analyze it and ask yourself, is this true or is it false? And you will definitely obtain better mental health. And I'm not saying that, I'm not saying that only people with mental illness suffer from this. Everyone suffers from this. Once in their lifetime. It might be a short period, or it might be a long period. It might be a long period where they might have to seek psychological help. They might have to go see a psychiatrist and even get under medication. But this just doesn't happen to people with mental illness. This also happens to the regular Joe in the street. I mean, and I say this because I see a lot of fighting going on between couples and between married people. I see a lot of fighting going on, and I ask myself what's happening. I thank God that I have not argued with my girlfriend, and we haven't argued in 7 years actually, and I'm telling you the truth. I haven't had a big argument with my girlfriend in 7 years. But you know my story with that. But then again, I study the mind, and I study the way the mind behaves. And we have to be careful with this thing we have up here, the mind. The mind can mislead, and the mind can actually tell us lies. And if we believe those lies, we're going to end up in trouble. Again, not everything that we think is actually true. We have to analyze what we're thinking about. We have to analyze our minds and what we're thinking about, and we have to ask ourselves, is this true or not? And use logic. Use logic. If something cannot be confirmed, then don't believe it. Just let it go. I myself, like again, I'm not. To me, it's either black or white. It's either true or not. I don't. I don't. There's no middle ground for me. I only accept things that are true, that I know that are true. And if something that I'm thinking about cannot be confirmed as something that's true, then I leave it alone. And through the sin of practice, through the through the practice of sin, I definitely have become healthier mentally and physically. Because again, the way we think is the way we're going to feel, because there's a strong connection between the mind and the body. Actually, the mind controls the body. And when I'm in my practice of sin, I realize that my blood pressure is 100%. My blood pressure is totally normal. When I'm doing my sin, my heart rate is perfectly normal. Again, when I'm in my sin, when I'm doing sin, when I'm meditating, I realize that my blood pressure is perfectly normal. My heart rate is perfectly normal. And it's only because my mind is clear. If you relax the mind, then the mind relaxes the body. And again, the practice of sin is the best thing that I have come upon in many, many, many years. Anyway, my name is Michael Felice. Take care. Bye.